Hello, good day viewers. Into this tutorial we are going to see the equation of what? Equation of motion. We'll see the constant speed and what? Constant acceleration, so that whenever we are given a question in equation of motion, we can be able to what? To solve it within using what? Using the formulas. So the first thing, let's say we have what? We have constant what? Constant speed. So in constant speed, we all know that distance is the same thing as what? As the value of what? Of velocity multiplied by what? Multiplied by the time. We all know that displacement is equals to what? Vt, which is what? The velocity divided by what? Time. So whenever you are given a problem, you can use this v, it is equals to vt. So if you are looking for time, you have to divide both sides by this. So therefore t shall now be d over what? D divided by what? Divided by the value of what? The value of b. So therefore we have speed. What is speed? Speed is the same thing as what? As distance over what? Over time. And you have to know that the speed is the same thing as what? The instantaneous speed is the same thing as the magnitude of what? Of instantaneous velocity. So this is what? This is the instantaneous speed, and this is what? This is the instantaneous what? Instantaneous velocity. In other hand, we all know that the velocity is the same thing as what? As displacement over what? Over time. And therefore displacement is the same thing as what? As the final position minus initial position divided by what? Divided by the value of time. So first I am given, let's say a person, it is moving in a position of what? Of let's say 10 meter, and therefore after moving to this position, which is the east, and therefore it go away to what? To the west. After moving to east, and then he come back to what? To west. At what? At 5 meter. You all know that the direction going through here, it is what? It is negative. So if I am to find the distance, let's say I am to find the distance between what? The distance of this person that is moving toward it and coming back toward what? Toward the west, it is what? I'll just sum this and this. So this should now be the distance, which is the same thing as what? As 15. But if I am to find the displacement, this displacement should now be equals to what? The final, this is the final that he first moved to what? To east, which is 10 plus what? Plus what? Plus the negative what? Negative initial. This is the initial. But the reason why plus what? Plus the initial. The initial, it is negative. So therefore negative 5 divided by the value of what? Of the 10. Let's say suppose the time, which is 5. So divide by the value of 5. 10 minus this, it will give me 5 divided by 5. So this will go into this. So the displacement should now be what? 1 what? 1 meter. So this is the main difference between the displacement and what? And distance. And you have to take note that the displacement, we have the horizontal and vertical. Let's say the x. So the horizontal should now be what? The x final minus what? Minus x initial, and dy, which is the vertical, is also the same thing as what? As y final minus what? Minus y initial. So for this, let me move to what? Let me move to constant acceleration. Let's talk about the constant acceleration. So in constant acceleration, what is acceleration? Acceleration is the change in velocity over what? Over time. Change in velocity over change in time. And therefore the average acceleration is the same thing as what? The v final minus what? V initial divided by the value of what? Divided by the value of t. So this is the average acceleration. This is instantaneous acceleration, which is change in velocity. As we all know, acceleration is a change in velocity over what? Over time. And therefore the average acceleration, which is what? The final velocity minus what? The initial divided by the value of time. So if I am to find the value of this bf, so this is the same thing as what? As saying, let me say the VF minus what? V naught. If I cross multiply, it is equals to what? 80. So I'm looking for the V final. So this should now be equals to, when this cross the equal sign, it will now be positive. So therefore B naught plus what? Plus 80. So as you can see, this is a new equation of motion formula, which is the V, which is BF, it is equals to V naught plus what? Plus 80. So keep this in mind. And therefore there is another relation, BF squared, it is equals to what? It is equals to V naught square plus what? But plus 2AD. So this is another equation of motion formula. Also keep it in mind. And you have to take note that also the constant acceleration is the same thing as d, which is equals to vt, the average velocity. And average velocity is the same thing as what? V naught plus what? Plus the vf divided by the value of 2. And this displacement should now be equals to, we have the value of b. But I can rewrite this average velocity before. I can rewrite this as half multiplied by V naught plus what? Plus this final velocity. And this displacement is the same thing as a half V. The average velocity is the same thing as what? Average velocity is the same thing as this. So I have to say a half of what? Of V naught plus what? Plus the final velocity multiplied by T, which is what? Which is this T. So at the end, the displacement should now be equals to, I have half here, and I have V naught plus BF. This BF, the final velocity, is the same thing as B naught plus 80. And therefore, this initial, it is what? 0. So this BF should automatically be equals to what? 80. So therefore, this final should now be equals to 80. So at the end, this T multiplied by this VT and this multiplied by this BF, which is 80, it should now become 80 square. So therefore, this is same thing as saying V naught T plus what? Plus a half A what? 80 square. So therefore, this is a new what? A new relation of what? Of equation under what? Under motion. So you have to keep this in mind. So I hope this is all I have for you. But there is one thing that I need you to know. You have to understand that whenever you have the S prime of what? The S prime of T is the same thing as what? As VT. And therefore the B prime of what? T is the same thing as what? Is the same thing as AT. And therefore you have to take a look that whenever you have this, whenever you have VT, so therefore VT is the same thing as what? As the integral of what? Is integral of A of T dt plus what? Plus constant. And therefore if you have the S of what? S of T is the same thing as what? Is the same thing as the integral of what? V of T dt plus what? Plus constant. So this is all I have for you for equation under motion. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks you for watching. Have a nice day.